All right, a huge political war has now erupted over Congress MP Rahul Gandhi's comments at Cambridge's Ideas for India conference, where Rahul Gandhi has said that India is not in a good place and Prime Minister Modi does not listen. He's also said that India is witnessing an attack on the institutions that built the country, which is now occupied by the deep state. Taking a jibe at the BJP, Congress MP has said that the Saffron Party is spreading kerosene all over the country. It just takes a spark for riots to hit. In fact, Rahul has compared the skirmishes with Chinese PLA in Ladakh to the situation in Ukraine, accusing the government for not allowing a discussion on border issues at all. He's also accused BJP of controlling the media. BJP, AIADMK, several other parties have launched an attack on Rahul Gandhi over his comments. BJP has said Rahul is a habitual offender. He makes grave comments each time he goes out on international platforms. Targeting Rahul Gandhi, AIADMK says that defaming India on international platforms is part and parcel of Congress's culture.
India is not in a good place. The BJP has spread kerosene all over the country. You need one spark and we'll be in big trouble. We have massive level of polarization. We have huge unemployment. We have, as I said, the backbone of employment broken. And we have massive concentration of wealth. From there, everything flows down. Our Prime Minister doesn't listen. What is Ukraine? Right? If you look at it, Putin is saying, I'm not ready for you to have an alliance with America, and so I'm going to question your territorial integrity and I'm going to attack you. Please recognize the parallels between what is going on in Ukraine and what is going on in Ladakh and in Doklam. Please realize that the same idea is at play. There are Chinese forces sitting in Ladakh, there are Chinese forces sitting in Doklam. The Doklam forces are designed for Arunachal Pradesh, the forces in Ladakh are designed for Ladakh. And the same principle is there. What the Chinese are saying, we do not accept your territoriality, and please, we do not accept the relationship you have with the United States. So we have to realize that there is a problem on the border, and we have to, whether we like it or not, we have to prepare for that problem, because we don't, we're going to get caught off guard.
ये आदत हो गई है राहुल गांधी और गांधी परिवार की, मोदी जी से नफरत की आग में जलते जलते वो भारत माता के खिलाफ ही वक्तव्य देने लगे हैं। और इस सेमिनार का शीर्षक कांग्रेस पार्टी को आइडियाज फॉर डिस्ट्रॉइंग इंडिया रखना चाहिए, क्योंकि यही उनकी मानसिकता है।
All right, let me quickly cut across to Anila Singh, who's the BJP spokesperson, joining us on the phone line. Anila, Congress's Rahul Gandhi on an international platform says India is not in the right place, it's not in a good place right now, and that BJP has spread enough kerosene all over, it just takes one spark to explode. Very strong statement that he's made in the Ideas for India event and a stage in the United Kingdom, which had large crowds and a gathering there. Of course, we've heard the stance of your party members. I'd like to hear from you. How would you receive this?
My Ram to everyone, and I'm not at all surprised. Including Rahul, many of his senior party leaders, they have been degrading India internationally. This is the agenda. They don't want to see India at the top of the world. So they want to drag down the India by various means, by participating in seminars, by participating in talk shows, by giving speeches. So here is Rahul sitting in England and talking about India in such a way, he forgets that you are talking on international platform about your own country. You might be having some sort of grudges from Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji or Bharatiya Janata Party. But at the same time, you are talking about India. And I really fail to understand how he can compare Ladakh with Ukraine. And if we talk about economics, then he doesn't, perhaps he doesn't have any knowledge, or his feedback is very poor. Because if we compare India internationally or globally, economic-wise as well, India is still doing so well in comparison of all those so-called developed countries. But he doesn't have any two words to praise our country, whether we talk about vaccination, whether we talk about all those poor people whom government had been helping from every point of view, right from ration to vaccination to everything. But he says India is going like Sri Lanka. This shows that his ideas are not being entertained by his own party. His ideas are not being entertained by Indians. He's thoroughly confused person. Thoroughly confused person. That is why I call Indian National Confused Party. INC is now Indian National Confused Party. So he failed. That you are talking about your country. You are not giving any speech here in India, a political speech for elections. So,
Manila, do you believe that Rahul Gandhi here is speaking more like an opposition leader and less of a responsible citizen? According to him, India right now is looking at large-scale communal unrest, and what he said on an international platform, whether was it needed to be spoken on an international platform or not, is a different issue. But speaking of the communal unrest, which he's referred to, how would you receive that statement? Several riot-like situations that occurred in different parts of India. We're looking at recent processions, Hindu processions that were targeted, which eventually led to such kind of riots that could have easily taken lives. In fact, if it wasn't contained and controlled in the nick of time. Here is Rahul Gandhi referring to such situations, saying that kerosene is spread all over. It just takes a spark for it to explode.
With what phrase he talks about communal tension? He has forgotten that his party is responsible for the division of this country on religion base. And India and the Kashmiri Hindus have gone through like Holocaust. His family is responsible for this. And what about the Sikhs who were murdered and slain because of Indira Gandhi ji was politically assassinated? What his father said, and what today Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary wrote on his Twitter handle. He is talking about communal tension. This is one political party under whom maximum number of communal riots happened in our country. And he is saying that India is sitting on kerosene, everywhere kerosene is spread, only a spark is required. I mean, he has to mind his words, what he is saying. He doesn't have any knowledge about the history. He doesn't know anything about the Vedic culture or Sanatan Panth. He doesn't have any respect for any religion, for Hindus, for anything, for his own country. This is a shame. Congress party, in today's date, working president is his mother, but I will say collectively Congress party should take some action against this man. He is a black spot in Congress party.
The Congress says is at least you cannot accuse the Congress of not speaking the truth. That's what the Congress says in response to all that objection coming in on his comments.
Every time he talks nonsense, Congress has to come forward to advocate him. That is the only thing. Even Congress knows that he doesn't talk sense. Every time he talks, he makes blunders. And again, he has done the same thing. He might be a pampered child of his mother, but it doesn't mean that he can be a pampered child of Congress party. Congress party must understand this thing, that he is talking about our country on international platform. I mean, in today's date, if you randomly, if you are going to ask any Indian or a British Indian there, they'll say what he has talked is absolutely crap. He shouldn't have talked in this way.
All right. Ms. Anila, thank you very much for joining us with those details. Of course, the Congress party in defense saying that Rahul Gandhi is speaking the truth. At least no one can accuse the Congress MP Rahul Gandhi of not speaking the truth.
देखिए, विदेश में जाके देश को बदनाम करना ये उनका पहला शगल नहीं है। प्रारंभ से पूरी कांग्रेस इसी पद चिन्हों पर चलती है। जब कांग्रेस खतरे में होती है तो उन्हें संविधान खतरे में नजर आता है। राहुल जी, कांग्रेस पार्टी खतरे में है और जब तक आप हो तब तक ये खतरे में ही रहेगी कांग्रेस पार्टी।
The Congress party and Rahul Gandhi time and again have now become the Bharat Badnami Brigade, and the manner in which, while they oppose Prime Minister Narendra Modi, while they oppose the BJP, which is their democratic right, they go to the extent of opposing India, India's democratic institutions, and India's armed forces itself, shows their political desperation and frustration.
हमने भी यही बात दूसरे शब्दों में कही थी कि जो सरकार के विरोधी है, जो बीजेपी के विरोधी है, उनके खिलाफ सेंट्रल एजेंसी जिस प्रकार से मुहिम चला रही है, ये ठीक नहीं है लोकतंत्र के लिए। देश में डेमोक्रेसी जरूर है, लेकिन इस प्रकार की डेमोक्रेसी जिसका गला सेंट्रल एजेंसी घोट रही है, ये हमने उससे पहले कभी देखा नहीं था। जो भी आपके खिलाफ बोलेगा, जो भी सच बोलेगा, उनके खिलाफ सेंट्रल एजेंसी को लगा दिया जाता है। राहुल गांधी ने जो बात कही है वो सच है।
All right, now let me quickly cut across to Brijesh Kalapa, who is joining us on the phone line from the Congress party. Brijesh, here is Rahul Gandhi, who has received a lot of flack from the BJP, naturally, where Rahul Gandhi on an international stage has said that BJP has spread kerosene all over. It takes just a spark for the country to explode, and that Prime Minister does not listen. India is in a bad space, really insulting, defaming India on an international platform. That's how the BJP looks at it, calling it as anti-national, saying that this comment hurts national sentiments. Would you justify it?
No, first is that it was Mr. Modi as Prime Minister who went to Germany and said that Indians used to feel, very sad and miserable that they were born in India. I'm sure that is also an anti-national statement, if this were one. Two is, now in the last 5 months, and I'm in Bengaluru, we've had cases of, first it began with, the hijab issue. We have had Azan issue. We have had the Jhatka issue. We have had whether the Muslim vendors can sell outside temples. And this is only in the last 5 months. And the other issue is that of the Christian community, which is the anti-conversion community issues. Now, when you have so many issues, all targeting members of the minority, then surely the minorities are, just easy fodder, and that's the reason that they are being attacked. Now, naturally, when somebody is attacked, there are obvious propensities to retaliate. So, this certainly seems as if, there is kerosene.
What kind of retaliation? You're retaliating on an international platform which really has no consequence. So it's more of a statement put out there rather than any seeking for any kind of solution on the matter. If the party is really concerned, then get down to helping those who you feel are aggrieved. Find a solution to this kind of communal unrest. Is there a way that could be done instead of defaming the country on an international platform? Because, like I said, it was of no consequence.
No, I don't see. Whether one is defamed, whether Modi is defamed or Rahul Gandhi is defamed is an issue which I think ultimately the courts of the country will have to decide. Now, both of us will keep saying, I will say Modi is defamed, you will say that Rahul Gandhi is defamed. And that is an argument which will continue endlessly.
According to the Congress, is it all right to make comments like this on an international stage? Is this the Congress party alone who does this time and again? Because that's what the BJP says. It's part and parcel of the Congress's culture to defame India on international platforms. That's been their DNA.
This has been said by the BJP far too many times. It's like crying horse, it's like crying wolf every now and then. So that the BJP is used to doing, let them do it. They've been doing it effectively for the last so many days. They'll continue to do it. But I'm saying that not everybody is anti-national. You're targeting everybody as anti-national. That means that, 67% of the population which has not voted for the BJP is anti-national ultimately.
No, but can comments like this be dealt with within the country? To be spoken on an international stage, what is the Congress seeking at? Are you looking for international attention on the matter? Are you looking for intervention?
Religious
All right, we've lost Mr. Kalapa's line, but that was the Congress and the BJP. Of course, you've heard one justifying, the other slamming. But these are comments made by Rahul Gandhi, and naturally we're looking at a political explosion on the same, with reactions coming in on Rahul's comments. Politics explodes just days after reports emerged about Rahul Gandhi speaking at a foreign event, at an international event, in fact a United Kingdom, where it was that event called the Ideas for India event. Let me cut across to reactions on the same.
Ever since the BJP has come to power, the BJP government has been usurping the powers of the state government, and the constant refrain is that they have been undermining the democratic institutions, and we have the unprecedented situation of 4 sitting Supreme Court judges coming out and talking about how there is executive interference in the administration of justice. This is one example, and probably Mr. Rahul Gandhi has been talking about this.
Situation has not yet come, but it has started. Early stage itself, if the government properly cut it down all these things, then our country will be a very peaceful country. My request to the Honorable Prime Minister, don't encourage who are all the organizations try to spoil our peaceful nature of this country by creating unnecessary problems about some sensitive issues. For that, he has to take severe steps.
All right. Meanwhile, poll strategist Prashant Kishore has made yet another stinging criticism against the Congress party on their poll prospects. Taking a dig at the 3-day Chintan Shivir of the Congress in Udaipur, Prashant Kishore has called the session a complete failure. Kishore has said that the Shivir achieved really nothing meaningful, but just instead prolonged status quo. The pollster, who negotiated with the Congress for a year and then declined the offer finally in April, predicted that the party would be rooted out in the assembly elections upcoming in Gujarat and Himachal Pradesh later this year. This comes at a time when several senior Congress leaders from the state stated that the brainstorming session as part of the Chintan Shivir was a grand success.
Prashant Kishore should know that grapes are sour. So he should be careful about opening his mouth.
Now, on the same hand, we are looking at politics exploding days after reports emerged about China building a second bridge across Pangong Tso. Congress MP Rahul Gandhi, who's up in arms against the BJP on this, taking a dig at the Saffron Party. Rahul Gandhi has said that India's national security and territorial integrity are non-negotiable, and a timid and docile response will not do. Prime Minister must defend the nation. These are words of Rahul Gandhi. This comes after the Ministry of External Affairs earlier had said that India is monitoring the situation very closely. This is what the Defence Minister had to say, responding to reports of China constructing a second bridge by China on Pangong Lake. MEA has stated that both these bridges are in areas under illegal occupation of China since the 1960s. Amid this lingering standoff between India and Chinese militaries, construction of a second bridge has brought the spotlight on the centre once again. Now, in quite a tragic incident, 10 people lost their lives after a portion of an under-construction tunnel collapsed at the Kuni Nala in Mukerjea, the area near Jammu and Kashmir's Ramban district. 9 bodies, one half body has been recovered. Very unfortunate. A search operation is currently underway. A case has been registered against the construction firm Sarala following the collapse of an under-construction tunnel. As per officials, a small portion of the front side of the tunnel at Kuni Nala collapsed on Thursday night during an audit, adding that a joint rescue operation was immediately launched by the police as well as the army.
कल से यहाँ गवर्नमेंट लगी हुई है। गवर्नमेंट अपनी तरफ से बहुत कोशिश कर रही थी। कल एक डेड बॉडी उन्होंने निकाली तकरीबन 12-1 बजे। फिर से शाम 4 बजे ऊपर से मलबा फिर से आ गया। तो हम यही चाहते हैं कि इनकी डेड बॉडी हमें मिले और इनके गम में हम जिसको मिलाउस हैं क्या कह सके हम, क्योंकि जिनके गए हुए होते दर्द वही जानते हैं।
कौन से गांव के रहने वाले?
ये पंठियाल गांव के, पंठियाल के नीचे 2 टंडल हैं, हम वहाँ के रहने वाले।
Cutting across to Sunil Ji Bhatt, who's right there tracking those developments. Sunil, 9 people unfortunately have succumbed to that tunnel collapsing. What really happened? Was it poor quality material? Was that tunnel already functional? Who's responsible for this?
Well, Nabila, as far as the collapse issue is concerned, that is a matter of investigation. But right now, the priority for the administration is to retrieve the bodies that are buried in the debris. So far, 9 bodies have been recovered, and this rescue operation is now in its final stage. One more body needs to be recovered, and then this operation will be over. So you can see that right now, NDRF personnel are on the spot. This is the last stage of this rescue operation, and this rescue operation has been going on since Thursday night when this collapse took place. The NDRF personnel have been working round the clock despite many challenges. The weather is inclement, and yesterday, Nabila, I will just ask my camera person to show you the pictures. The place where I'm standing right now, you can see this portion of this hill. It came crashing down, and there was chaos at that point of time and a stampede-like situation. We will speak to the Senior Superintendent of Police, Ramban District, Ms. Moitra Sharma. Ma'am, what's the update as far as this operation is concerned?
9 out of 10 bodies have been retrieved and sent to DH Ramban.
So, ma'am, the last body which is still trapped in the debris, by when can it be retrieved?
Work is underway, and hopefully we'll be able to retrieve the body soon.
Ma'am, an FIR has also been registered in this matter. Has this construction company been named in that FIR?
It has been said in the FIR that the workers were of cellular company.
Ma'am, how challenging has been this rescue operation given the terrain and the inclement weather?
Yes, it has been one of the most challenging operations we have till date, and since day before the rescue operation has been going on. Yesterday it was stopped because of the inclement weather conditions and because that mountain also caved in because of the fault line that it developed. But since morning 5:30 the rescue operation is on and has been on its final leg.
So as you heard from the Senior Superintendent of Police Ramban District, their rescue operation now is in its final leg, and here you can see that the NDRF personnel are on their job, and there's the last body which is still buried in the debris. They are trying their level best to recover it as soon as possible, but it's a very challenging operation. It was a very challenging operation given the terrain and the inclement weather. And if I can just ask my camera person to show you this picture, there you see this was the major portion of the hill which came crashing down yesterday, and we were standing on this bridge next to this hill. It was really very scary at that point of time, and there was stampede-like situation. People started running for their lives, but somehow there was no damage as far as human life is concerned. But the rescue operation was halted, and it resumed early in the morning after there was improvement in the weather. And since then this operation has been going on. It's a very Herculean task for the administration, but they have managed to retrieve 9 out of 10 bodies so far.
Very, very unfortunate. Thank you very much, Sunil. Of course, we continue to track that story as rescue operation still underway. 9 bodies that have been recovered, at least 10 dead is what they have reported, officials claim, after the tunnel unfortunately collapsed in Jammu and Kashmir. Now, after spending 6.5 years in Mumbai's Vaikula jail, former TV tycoon Indrani Mukerjea drives out in a Mercedes while laughing, waving her hands at the crowds. Indrani ditched her grey hair look, donned a completely new avatar as she returned to her sprawling flat Marlow in posh South Mumbai. Indrani is now accused, she's been in prison as she was accused of killing her 24-year-old daughter Sheena Bora in 2012. She's out on bail now. Here's what happened.
Smiling, waving hands, hugging loved ones. After spending 6.5 years in jail, former TV tycoon and murder-accused Indrani Mukerjea walked out of the Vaikula jail on Friday. Out on bail, the 50-year-old accused of killing her daughter Sheena Bora preached forgiveness.
Do you blame anyone for this particular incident? It's all, you know, it's all forgotten. 6.5 years of yours lost. Empathy and forgiveness. I've forgiven all the people who have hurt me, that's all.
After a long prison life, Indrani is now expected to stay at her sprawling flat Marlow in posh South Mumbai.
Today I just want to look at the sky at night. I haven't seen the night sky for the last 6.5 years.
Indrani says she's writing a book.
Not a memoir, I'm writing something. A book? Yeah. Something is cooking. Yes. What is it about? नहीं, bail के बारे में कुछ नहीं लिख रही हूँ मैं अभी फिलहाल. I think I have seen, you know, life from a different lens now, because you know I've met people from all walks of life, and it's a journey. Like I said, it's been a journey, and of course I've learned to be more patient. You have to be patient and more empathy.
The Sheena Bora murder case had hit global headlines in 2012. Indrani had allegedly kept the real identity of her daughter Sheena from everyone, including her husband at the time, Peter Mukerjea. She had allegedly introduced Sheena as her sister to all. Indrani is accused of taking the help of her driver Shamvar Rai and her former husband Sanjeev Khanna in executing the gruesome murder that shocked an entire nation. Sheena's body was allegedly burned to ashes in a forest. Since the arrest, Indrani has separated from Peter Mukerjea, who is also a co-accused in the case. In March 2022, Indrani had written a letter to CBI director stating that Sheena Bora is alive.
I cannot talk about the case right now. The matter is sub judice. Any questions regarding the case, you can speak to Sana. अभी मैं वो केस के बारे में कोई बात नहीं कर सकती. जो कुछ भी आपको पूछना है इनसे पूछो.
Indrani has now come out of jail after securing bail from the Supreme Court on Wednesday. She is not allowed to leave India without the court's permission. Indrani has also had to surrender her passport before a special court. She is barred from contacting any of the witnesses in the case. Indrani also has to attend the trial regularly without seeking adjournments.
It was from right here that Indrani was arrested on 25th August 2015. Now, after 7 years and spending these many years in the prison, Indrani is finally back here at home. Now she's really hoping that this entire trial against her will speed up, which has been moving at a snail's pace, and will come to its logical conclusion soon. With cameraman Sahil Chauhan in Mumbai, Vidya for India Today.